Steph Curry. Steph Curry. Steph Curry. Steph Curry. Steph Curry.
In 2015, there was a moment when NBA defenders stopped guarding Steph Curry like a normal basketball player. They started picking him up from half court, and somehow that still wasn't far enough.
Steps back, crossover, fires away. Wow! Another three from Curry!
Because Steph Curry wasn't having a great season. He was turning the entire geometry of basketball into a joke.
Steph Curry is messing the game up.
I just think every shot is going to go in.
The ball is not the problem with Steph Curry. He's the problem.
That's not a compliment said kindly. That's a grown man, mid-game, genuinely rattled. And it wasn't just anybody saying it, it was LeBron James, breaking down exactly what made Curry impossible to prepare for.
The ball is the problem. The ball is not the problem with Steph Curry. He's the problem. Steph is most dangerous when he doesn't have the ball.
Hold on to that feeling, because that's the whole story. How a kid nobody wanted became, in one season, something the league had never had to guard before. Before any of this was possible, Steph Curry was the kid nobody wanted.
The big-time schools didn't recruit him because of his appearance, I think, his size.
Not one Division I program offered him a scholarship, so he went to Davidson, made an Elite Eight run nobody predicted, and got drafted 7th overall in 2009 by a Warriors team that hadn't exactly been a model of NBA success.
With the 7th pick in the 2009 NBA draft, the Golden State Warriors select Stephen Curry from Davidson College.
Then came the part almost nobody remembers when they picture the guy who's the greatest shooter of all time.
You also dealt with ankle injuries.
Chronic right ankle problems would force him to miss 48 games.
The next few seasons, Curry would overcome a plague of injuries.
So that lasted for 2 years, like off and on. I had 2 surgeries, extensive rehab.
People were unsure if he would really be able to survive.
He heard it in San Antonio a year ago.
You start to think to yourself, hey, what if I'm never the guy that I could be because I just can't get right physically?
2 ankle surgeries, games missed, seasons interrupted. A career that for a while looked like a question mark instead of a promise. And there's a quieter piece of this that doesn't make the highlight reels where all of it actually started. His father, Del Curry, spent 16 NBA seasons as one of the league's best pure shooters. And he passed down more than a jump shot.
His father, Del Curry, was a fantastic shooter who made over 1,200 threes in 16 seasons. A skill he imparted to his children.
So the ankles were the doubt. The father was the foundation. And there was one night before any of this was inevitable where his own teammates felt the shift happen in real time. Curry dropped 54 points that night, and the guy who watched it happen from the bench still remembers exactly what it felt like.
Again, butter! Steph Curry! His 11th three of the night! Steph Curry with 54 points, tops in the NBA this season.
2 years before the MVP. 2 years before the record books. His own locker room already knew. By 2014, healthy again, Curry was quietly building toward a season nobody outside that locker room was ready for. The thing that changed was distance. Before Curry, an NBA shot chart looked simple.
It scores with 1.5 on the clock!
Get open, shoot. Curry's shot chart looked like this. Cross half court, pull up, shoot, call it the 30-foot problem. The court got bigger. And it only got bigger because of one player.
He was box office, averaging 24, 4, 8, and 2 on red-hot efficiency while breaking the NBA's single-season three-point record.
You thought the problem was how far he could shoot from. Because distance alone doesn't explain what made him impossible to prepare for. It was how fast the ball left his hands. No wind-up, no warning. By the time a defender's feet moved to contest it, the shot was already gone. A release inherited, almost exactly, from a father who'd spent 16 seasons perfecting his own, except the Suns came out even faster. So now it's not just the range, it's the range and the release, stacked on top of each other on every single possession.
Fires away!
And even that doesn't cover it, because Steph Curry almost never stood still. Ask the people whose actual job for one night was to stay attached to him. That's not a man who got scored on. That's a man whose legs gave out from chasing someone around screens for 48 straight minutes. Curry didn't beat him with one move, he beat him with the whole game. The range, the release, the movement. 3 separate problems, all happening at the same time on every single possession. So how do you stop him? Trap him. Didn't work. He passes out of it before the trap closes. Double him. Didn't work. Someone else gets an open look. Pick him up earlier. Didn't work. He shoots from further out. Put your best defender on him. Let him shoot and hope the odds catch up to him? Absolutely not. The problem was never one unstoppable move you could scheme against. Every single answer created a brand new problem somewhere else on the floor. That's how you accidentally build a monster, not with one unbeatable weapon, but by making a player who turns your best answer into his next opportunity. By the end of that season, the numbers stopped looking like basketball and started looking like a typo. He broke the NBA's single-season three-point record, made history nobody had made before him. And for the first time, a room full of people whose entire job is finding reasons to doubt somebody had nothing left to say. He was named the NBA's most valuable player. His own coach, the one who'd bet an entire system on this guy, put it about as plainly as a coach can put it about a player. Remember the kid who quietly wondered if his own ankles would let him have a career at all? That's the same guy. That's the jump the trophy doesn't explain on its own we just did. Somewhere in the middle of all this. His 2-year-old daughter, Riley, started climbing onto the podium at press conferences grabbing the mic, making faces at a room full of reporters who couldn't stop smiling. It happened more than once that series. It became its own story that week. The monster clocks out. The dad stays. The MVP trophy wasn't the ending. It was the setup for the real question. Could the player who'd just rewritten the regular season do it with the entire basketball world watching? Because waiting for him in the finals was, in every possible sense, the old version of basketball LeBron James. Size, strength, get your best player the ball, get out of his way, let him win it himself. Steph Curry was the opposite idea entirely. Movement, shooting, spacing, not one guy dominating the ball, 5 guys making the floor impossible to defend. The 2015 finals wasn't just Warriors versus Cavaliers. It was 2 different versions of basketball, standing across from each other, about to find out which one the sport actually belonged to. One breakdown of the series actually traced who created every single Warriors point off a made field goal, 51% of a championship offense, against a team built entirely around stopping one great player, from a guard who'd spent his whole career being told the ball couldn't run through someone his size. The Warriors won the title in 6 games, their first championship in 40 years. And somewhere in that series, without anyone quite announcing it, the old version of basketball lost the argument. Movement and shooting had just gone shot for shot with the best isolation scorer alive and come out on top. The strangest part of what happened in 2015 wasn't the MVP, and it wasn't even the championship. It was what happened next to everybody else. Suddenly, teams that had never taken a three-pointer seriously in their lives were building entire offenses around spacing the floor. Big men who used to live under the basket were standing at the three-point line. Kids in driveways everywhere started pulling up from half court instead of working on a mid-range game nobody wanted to watch anymore. The NBA had just watched Steph Curry, and it decided it wanted to become him. Years later, looking back at what he'd actually done to the sport, Curry put it about as plainly as a man can put it: he didn't set out to change the sport. He just refused to apologize for the way he already played it. The league did the changing on its own. For years, the real question about Steph Curry wasn't whether he was talented enough. It was whether his own ankles would ever let anyone find out. Then, in 2015, for the first time, they did. He played the season healthy. Night after night, no disappearing act, just Curry showing up, shooting from distances that weren't supposed to be practical, moving in ways defenders couldn't keep pace with, doing it all again the next night. The kid everyone once worried might be too fragile for the NBA became the player the entire league was suddenly afraid to guard. Ask anyone who's ever had to guard him, or coach him, or simply watch him and you get some version of the same answer. A Hall of Famer who mastered fear, a Hall of Famer who mastered flash, a Hall of Famer who thought he'd seen everything the sport could offer. All three, in their own words, landing on the same conclusion: there was nothing to compare him to. Steph Curry was a monster in 2015. Not because anyone built him that way, because every school that passed on him, every ankle surgery that should have slowed him down, every doubt anyone ever had about a 6'2" guard from Davidson, all of it just became part of what he turned into. The same ankles that once had his own team wondering if he'd ever get right physically just carried him through an MVP season. 2015 wasn't the year Steph Curry became the greatest shooter ever. It was the year basketball realized what it could become. Coda, one more thing. 9 years later, at the Olympics, a rival superstar is still standing in a locker room before tip-off, drawing up a plan for one specific job: how to guard him. A generational talent, on the biggest stage in the sport, still treating him like a problem that needs its own whiteboard. 9 years after 2015. Still a monster.